questions. And let me introduce myself. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Andre Hebert. I have lived in Bayou Vista with my husband since 2013. Moved here with our 3 children, put them all through school here. 2 are in college, 1 is in school up north, she's finishing out there. But we raised our family here. And we've done that for over a decade. And this community matters to us. And so I'm very curious by nature. And when things happen and it sparks my curiosity, I have a tendency to kind of jump all in and just try to understand. Just at the most foundational level, I just have a desire to understand. And so I make a lot of posts on social media because I'm a millennial and that's what I do. It is the way of the world. I know there are some people that don't really vibe with it, and I understand. I have a 92-year-old grandmother who doesn't even know what Facebook is. So I get it, but it's the way of the world, and it's only getting bigger. So yeah, I post to Facebook and I share every single thing that I uncover because I believe in transparency. And I already did the work, so here you go, you know. And a lot of people, because of that, come to me with questions. And so there are things that have been going on in our community that have risen a lot of questions, and people are constantly approaching me. And so I felt like this is the best thing, you know, and to get everyone together that wants to be together and to talk about the things that were our concerns in this very, very small community. But it's a great place. It's a great place to live. It was a great place to raise my kids. We love it. I want to see it succeed. And that's at the core of this. So that's why we're here. And Mr. Chad, I'm going to let you go first. I know you have a prior engagement, and you've got some exciting drainage. So.
Hello, my name is Chad Ross. I'm the chairman for the Drainage District here in Bayou Vista. I'm also the co-chair for Wax Lake East, which is the drainage district, everything between Calumet Cut and Chapel Island Road. There are 3 of my board, myself and 2 other board members on the Bayou Vista Drainage District that also serve on the Wax Lake East Drainage District. And that is, we were put there to make sure that Bayou Vista has 100% coverage as far as representation on that drainage board. So they're having a meeting tonight. I stepped out of that meeting to be at this meeting, so I can let you guys know what's going on with drainage at Bayou Vista and what's been going on over the past couple of years, so part of it's 9 years, that we've been dealing with and where we are today. So 9 years ago, 10 years ago, we built a brand new pump station here in Bayou Vista. When the pump station was designed, there was a flaw and it never acted right. So for 9 years, we've been in litigation to try to sit there and get that pump station right. This year, we were able to settle that lawsuit, come to an agreement, and be able to get the funding that is going to allow us to get that pump station 100% operational. In the back, I have Damon Bila and Alvin Lodrick, 2 of our supervisors, 1 of our pumpers. We have 3 employees with the drainage district, and those guys work non-stop to make sure that you guys don't flood, or that if there is any water, that we get it out as soon as possible. We've had problems in Bayou Vista for a long time. I've talked to many people who have lived in this area for a long time. I've talked to the fire chief. Every time it rains, he's got to shut down part of Bayou Vista because there's water in the streets. Now, water in the streets doesn't mean that it's flooding because the streets were designed to hold water, but it's still a problem. Our infrastructure underneath the roadways is old. It was never designed or engineered to hold the amount of concrete we have today. With Walmart and all these other areas building, The system that we currently have wasn't designed for that type of infrastructure. We're aware of it, our engineers are aware of it, and our government officials are aware of it. And so we're working to fix that. We have 4 shovel-ready projects that are engineered and ready to go. All right? Those are four projects that we're ready. All we need is the money for. The problem is getting money, because you can't get emergency money if there's no emergency. If we're doing our job and we're keeping you guys from getting water in your house, even though there might be a lot of water in the street, even though it might come in your backyard, it might even get in your shed, it's not getting in your house. As long as it's not getting in your house, there's no report. If there's no report, if there's no insurance claim, the federal government says, oh, y'all doing your job, you don't need our money. We're going to give our money to these people who are flooded. So by doing our job correctly and by doing it well, we're not getting the funding we need to do these projects. So how do we go about this? Well, I've met with Mr. Jones in the back many times. I've met with the CAO. I've met with Senator Allen. And we are working tirelessly between myself and the government to find funding for these projects. Some of them I find are more imperative than the other ones, and so we've kind of started a program to where we're going to start where we have the most water, and we're going to work our way back from there. At our last meeting, we meet every second Tuesday of the month at the come play golf at 6 o'clock. If any of y'all want to come to the meeting, I know I see a few of you guys there. You're welcome to come to our meeting. But at our last meeting, we had the subsurface drainage from Delmar down to Jupiter, cost analysis on that. That's $2.2 million. For that little bitty stretch, it's $2.2 million to go underneath the sidewalks or whatever and change that from the 10-inch or 12-inch, whatever it is under there now, to the proper size that would help drainage. Our engineer has estimated that to fix Bayou Vista, he would need about $10.5 million to be able to fix Bayou Vista. And so myself, Mr. Jones in the back, and all the people at the parish council are working tirelessly to get that money to improve your drainage. Just this morning, I got a phone call from Senator Aller. He has sat there and been able to allocate for St. Mary Parish, not just for Bayou Vista, this is for all of St. Mary Parish, $3 billion a year solely for drainage. So that means that projects can sit there and get moved. If there's a matching, whenever you go for a grant, you have to have matching funds. That money can be used for matching funds to help any of these drainage districts get over that hurdle to get funded for these projects. Some of them are as simple as pulling some culverts out, putting new culverts. Some are as difficult as going underneath the highway with a different size culvert there. And that has its own thing, because then you have the DOTD and the government, the state coming in and saying, we can't go under our highway. The federal government saying, we can't go under our highway. So those are all things that we deal with on a daily basis, right? As chairman of this board, I field phone calls daily about why are we doing this, or why aren't we doing this, or why did this happen? And I try to answer those as best as possible. I don't have all the answers. A lot of times I'll call Alvin and be like, hey man, what's going on? Why did this happen? And he'll give me a long, lengthy explanation of how rain works, you know? But we're always looking for answers. And we're always working hard for you guys. One of the biggest problems that the public doesn't understand is how tax money works, okay? You guys pay property tax, and in that property tax there are bills. And you can look at your property tax when it comes in and say, okay, this bill goes to this goes to the hospital, this goes to school, this goes to drainage, whatever. The mills that our district, our small district here in Bayou Vista collect, average between $325,000 to $370,000 a year. There is not a single project that I can do with those types of mills. The mills that we collect are used for maintenance, upkeep, cutting grass and paying our employees to do those things. If I were to double your mill to $700,000 a year collected, that still wouldn't give me enough money to do one single project. For us to do these projects, we have to depend on grants. We have to depend on help from the parish government as well as the state government. And so that's why we reach out to all these governmental entities and we say, hey, look, we have a problem. Can you help us? In the conversations I've had with these guys, I met with a gentleman probably 7 or 8 months ago with even the gentleman from Senator Kennedy's office, myself, Mr. Jones, and a few other people. So we're reaching out as deep as we can into Washington to get funding for you guys here in Bayou Vista. And it's working. I mean, this announcement today of $3 million per year that we'll get every year for drainage for St. Mary Parish is tremendous. That's $3 million more than we had before, right? So as far as drainage goes, we're working really hard. We apologize whenever things don't go exactly right, but I can tell you there's a light at the end of the tunnel. With this lawsuit being settled and us getting that pump station operating at 100%, which February will be whenever we get the quote to have everything fixed, and then we'll be able to start the project. We're moving in the right direction. So please bear with us as we move forward. And I'm always available. I'm either at Pick and Pack Spirits or you can call myself. I'll be happy to give any of you guys my cell phone if you like it. Now I'll take some questions if y'all have any questions for me. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you saying all that money? Sorry, real quick, if y'all mind, can you state your name, please? And you know, I went to the meetings and all before, and I didn't want to come tonight because I knew I wouldn't be able to bite my tongue. Who is budgeting this money? And you're going to tell me $300,000 is being spent in Bayou Vista?
Yeah.
Where?
Well, we can sit there and show you the spreadsheet. We go through an audit process every year, and we can show you where that money goes.
I think it should be public.
It is public.
I live with the backyard is the cane field. I can't see the cane field. That is the drainage ditch.
Correct.
That is too thick. They keep going big. There's no way it's going from way down there into that pump. We can't go back there and cut it because it goes straight down. So, like, I have so many questions. Where's the money that was Ramsey found that was being spent in Berwick and everywhere else instead of Bayou Vista?
Are you talking about the 310 sales tax money?
I don't know what it was at the time because I backed away from it because people weren't doing anything. People didn't want to stand up. And child, I know you've been, like I know you rode around and you went check all the drainages and all. I'm not saying anything about you, and I do see it moving forward. But all the cement, okay, we have more businesses in this little bitty town than houses. Where's all those tax dollars going?
The tax we collect are from homeowners, from landowners. It's property tax, right? That's
But
where it
nobody's
comes
sitting
from.
there saying, don't put Walmart, don't put another truck stop, don't do this. We paying these taxes while everybody's running through building these businesses. We can't get more than one cop.
Right, but that's kind of not on my subject, though, unfortunately.
No,
But as far as the cane
if
field,
you're
as far
tax
as,
dollars
right.
or Bayou Vista, it needs to be spent in Bayou Vista.
as far as your question about the ditch, right? We don't have the equipment to cut on that side. Because that ditch has been widened and widened and widened and
All
widened.
on the property side.
Right, so,
Also taken, Christy Carrier, also taken from my property lines as well.
Exactly.
My property line is in the ditch. I live at 1171 Tesh Road. Anyone can pass by there and see that my property pole is in the ditch.
and that
Because
is,
when they used to dig years ago, they dug from that side. I have neighbors who have to look over their fence into the ditch.
and I'm aware of that, we're aware of the erosion problem, we've dealt with the erosion problem.
And nobody cleaned my side because I can't.
So for us to be able to do anything on your side of the ditch, the only option that we have is to scrape. problem with spraying is if you spray the wrong stuff, it kills everything, and then all your yard will go into the ditch, right? So I have to go out and find a different solution. There's no way, there's not a between Wax Lake and the Little District, there is not an excavator that has a long enough reach to get across that ditch and mow that grass, or cut those weeds. The only option that we would have would be to hire an outside company to come in and do it. And we don't have the money to do that at this point. But
Meanwhile, our property falls in the ditch. I have a shed that anyone's welcome to walk in that is sinking in the back.
Mine here.
Because when the water flows, when they start pulling the water, it pulls everything. My shed is sinking.
we do have engineering on Test Road. It's called the Test Road Drainage Project. It needs funding. We're working on it. We're working
What was the
diligently.
$500,000 we lost with the parish council?
That has
What was
nothing to do with it. That money is
Okay,
allocated
is that
to
sewer?
Yeah. And
Because
they'll
there's
be
also
coming up
sewer
and speaking
on
of
site.
that.
That's
This is about
phase.
drainage, so, I'm not on the sewage board, I have no knowledge of the sewage board. I do speak with those guys, and I know that part of the issue with sewage is that they have a outdated system underneath the roadways. Because it's not a sealed system, so the way sewage works is they get paid by the water coming from here to here, right? So when the water leaves here and it goes through the process, they get paid by what leaves here. In the interim of that, if the system is not sealed, they get water in that system from outside, whether it's drained water, whatever. They're having to clean more water than they're getting paid for. Does that make any sense to you guys? You know, so.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about sewage.
Joint Storage Commission is having to clean more water than they're
Yeah,
getting paid.
so if I have this much water in a cup, right? And I charge you, when I do this, right? You know, I charge you for the water that's coming out of here.
Yeah.
And as it goes here, more water seeps into the system before it gets there, right?
Correct.
So I'm only charging you for what's in this thing, but this extra water has come into the system here. Now, I have double this amount of water that I'm having to clean, but I'm not getting paid for double the amount, I'm only getting paid for what's in this bottle. And that's part of the problem.
Yes.
Okay? So that's the only thing that drainage really has to do with sewage, is that our drainage water that's out there is getting inundated into the sewage system, and it's causing the sewage board to have to clean more water than they're getting paid for. So that's all I really have about that. The sewage guys can tell you a lot more, but that's as far as my knowledge goes.
Dr. Christy Pejari, Parish Council District 9. Hi, Chad, how are you?
Good.
I just have a quick question. How much is the estimation for this test road project? And this is the first time I'm hearing of this after being on the council for 6 years. So are these things being pushed forward for capital outlay and other funding options?
So we do have some capital outlay money for the Test Road Drainage Project, to my knowledge. The issue that we're having getting that money is that it was applied for by the former CAO. And the state law requires that to get capital outlay, it has to be applied for by the entity. So the money's there, but we can't get our hands on it. Senator Almaz is working with me to try to sit there and redo the paperwork so that we can get our hands on that capital outlay.
Okay. Like I said, this is the first time I'm hearing about this, so I know we worked out a situation with Fire Protection District because we had the same problem. They had capital outlay for a new fire station in Four Corners, but it was the same situation because somewhere in that process they changed the application process for capital outlay, and it's supposed to come from the entities through us, you know, but the way we worked that out was with a cooperative endeavor agreement between the parish and between the entity itself. So, I mean, I'm just now hearing about this, and we just need to talk about exploring options, you know, because it's the same situation. If we're not made aware of projects that y'all are proposing, we can't help and facilitate that.
Right.
And I know you've gone through administration and stuff like that, but You know, you need a village sometimes. So, yeah, so, you know, that information isn't always distributed across the board. And I know before we submit capital outlay projects, we've reached out, and I mean, I go to a lot of the meetings, you know, Dean does, Les does, all the other council members attend meetings, but this is the first time I'm hearing of this. So one of our goals is to try and get all of our sub-entities to start submitting kind of like capital outlay requests, almost like a 5-year and a 10-year plan. So we have an idea of what projects you have proposed, so we can aid with funding, you know, but I mean, if we're not made aware of it, it's hard for us to facilitate it.
And we've also applied for hazard mitigation money, but you know how that process works. It's, what we've applied for is small potatoes, and we're probably not going to be granted that for a while. So, you know, but it's in there. You know, we're doing the work. It's just the stuff we asked for isn't necessarily top of the list.
But that money that's going to the test drainage, like, is that gonna, are y'all doing it to rebuild our property so we can get back there and cut it, so we don't have to spray? Or all the trees that are growing that we can't even reach over our fence to cut to get any kind of sun? Or is it gonna be
It's
just
to
for
improve.
y'all to do whatever, and then we still stuck with half our ditch done washed away?
It's to improve drainage. And I don't have the engineering in front of me. I wish, you know, Jules was here to sit there and give you a better answer, because he handles, Jules of Mill Engineering handles the engineering for our district, and he's the one that has all those plans laid out. So, you know, I'll get back to you on that. I can just shoot your Facebook or whatever after I talk to Jules to find out what's included in that project, and if there's any, if there's anything about rebuilding. To my knowledge, there's nothing in there about rebuilding property. But I will, you know, I'll circle back to you on that as soon as I
Yeah,
can
I mean,
find out.
Chad, come look, I mean, do y'all?
I've been back there, I ride back there all the
No, come in
time.
my backyard, like, the bottom of my shed is gone.
Yeah, no,
My hand's washing away.
Rachel, I understand. I've driven, Damon drives over by there every day, right? We're aware, we're very aware. As a matter of fact, at one point before a hurricane 2 years ago, I believe it was, we were looking at the trees on there to see if there was anything that needed to be cut. And we came back with $100,000 estimate to cut a few trees. Because of that ditch being as wide as it is, working in that area requires a lot of money. And it's just something that this small district doesn't have.
But it's not gonna get any better. I mean, I would cut my own trees. I just can't even get back there to get the break.
Rachel, I do understand, and we're working toward a better answer for you. I just don't have, I can only give you the facts that I have right now.
And next time you pass, look at my backyard. My land is swollen in.
So-
When you ride back there, you can see.
So none of the taxes from Walmart or anything come into Bayou Vista?
No, the point is a lot of what they call a pre-test sales tax that was passed by the people, and that money goes to, I believe it's allotted for, no, it's for Bayou Vista, but it's allotted for recreation, sewage, and drainage.
Well, what recreation?
Yeah.
What recreation?
Oh, yeah, just like that.
This is recreation.
I think, you know, if I could interject just for a second, y'all, because there's a lot of other things that are going to flow into this conversation that we're having right now that we haven't discussed yet. So, Mr. Chad, I know you have somewhere to go. If anybody else has a pressing drainage question that they want to ask, but I promise you, what we're talking about here will flow into the rest of the meeting, so.
What she's pointing out to is, this is not all just wear and tear on that ditch that's back there. They came for years with a big scooper and pulled away land until there's nothing there left. I have a tree that eventually, probably in a short period of time, is coming across that ditch. There's nothing left to hold it down.
Yeah, we're aware, and like I said, by continually cleaning that ditch, and the ditch essentially became more of a holding tank than a ditch. It flows still, but by widening it and making it bigger, it became a place to hold water because of the flooding issue. By widening it to get to the ability to hold the water, it's caused other problems. And like I said, we're aware of those problems and we monitor those problems, but we can't act, we can't just act to be, we have to plan our actions as opposed to react. So when there's tall grass, and look, I've been back there, I've seen the problem. I've met with the guy from Liberty Landscape, and that's who we use for part of the cutting and spraying that we do. And he has got with the Homa Drainage District to find a solution to be able to at least spray the back there without damaging the undergrowth, which would sit there and lead to more erosion. Another thing that we've looked at or we've talked about would be the rubber matting like they've used in Berwick along the golf course. We've also looked at cement mats. So you sit there and you roll into the ditches and you spray it down and it becomes instant creep. But we've heard of some nightmare stories about that stuff. And so we are exploring all these different areas to try to deal with it. But we're not going to act without being 100% sure that what we do is the right thing. And I'm really scared because I know how close that is to property lines or over property lines. If you're correct on that, I don't have a survey. But we're aware of it. You know, we've driven back there a million times and we've seen it, and we've seen the overgrowth. It's just I don't want to sit there and act that would cause more problems for you guys. So we're having to get with the experts. We're having to get with the people who know more than me. There's a lot of those out there. But to make sure that whenever we do act, that it's what's best for you as the taxpayer and what's best for us as drainage for everyone. Because your backyard affects everybody in Bayou Vista. If we acted the wrong way in your backyard and it causes a problem in that ditch, it's causing a problem for all these other people who don't live on the ditch. So that's why we have to be careful.
How old is the drainer in this area here? Because I can guarantee you, AT&T comes out every day between my property line and her property line. Within a 2-year span, I can step in a hole waist deep, but that dirt right there is going somewhere. And that drainage is flowing right between our houses to that ditch you're talking about. You see, so that mud is going somewhere.
That
it's
is
disappearing into somewhere going that way.
We've had that before, and that's the conduit that they use for their lines. The dirt's going into that conduit. We had a gentleman.
Broken conduit?
So, once again, I don't know about AT&T and how their stuff runs. I don't know if it's broken conduit. I don't know if it's
AT&T just so happens to be there.
Right.
It has nothing to do with that. There's consumer cost.
But the hole that you're
The
talking
drain
about.
line is right there.
The holes you're talking about have, in the past that we've done, come from underground electrical and cable conduit, where they use a plastic conduit that either breaks or separates, and then it causes that erosion. From what we've seen in the past, or what I've witnessed firsthand.
When that's at, lines up with the drainage right in the back of the ditch. Perfectly lines up between the property.
I'd have to go look at what you're talking about and be able to kind of give you a little bit better idea.
I know it's all about money, but has anybody, I know it's expensive, but anybody ever thought about putting all this down and just putting dirt down on top of that?
In Test Road?
Right there.
You talking about behind Test Road?
Right here.
Right. So yeah, that has been looked at. That is, I believe, and I'd have to give it to Jules once again, because I don't have that information in front of me. But I believe that was one of the solutions that we looked at. And that would take 2, and I forget what size culverts to be put in that area to give it the same amount of drainage that we have currently.
Everybody's using property over there, so when I ask the badge runs, maybe help.
So that was before my time. I don't
When you're widening the ditch, widening that main
McCain field belongs to Wax Lake East. That does not belong to Wax Lake East.
Wax Lake East, we also pay a millage to them.
Correct, yes.
So we kind of own that too.
Well, yes, I mean, yes.
Okay.
But,
I thought so.
but the ditch at Wax Lake East doesn't have the same problems that the ditch. The ditch by the McCain field doesn't have the same widening problem that you have past the cane field. Past the cane field is where they widen the moat, and that's what's caused us not to be able to mow there. That's what's caused us not to be able to get in there and clean up that area. And we just don't have the equipment. I'll circle back with all of you guys about Test Road. I'll get with Billy Engineering and I'll get with Andre. I'll have her post what our findings are, and then my number, I think Andre has my number. She can put it out on her Bayou Vista Facebook page, and that way you guys can stay in touch with me. And you're also welcome to our meeting every second Tuesday of the month, 6 o'clock, Bayou Vista golf course.
Thank you, Mr. Shad.
Any other questions? All right, guys, thank y'all. I apologize that I have to run, but if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
I do want to say something really quick before we go into the sewerage and all of that. I wanted to say it before we got started. I know a lot of people think that what I do is a personal attack on some of you. It is not. I don't think that anybody on the council, the board, I don't think any of you are inherently bad people. I don't think that you have ill will. I don't think you want to see our little town go to hell in a handbasket. I don't think that's your intention. But I think the system is broken.
Amen.
Not the people. I think the system is broken. I don't think I know. And if anybody who takes the time to look will see that it is broken. And we hear, I know I've been actively involved for a year, and I constantly hear, we don't have money. Okay, cool. Well, why don't we consolidate? We operate, we've been under a home rule charter for 43 years, but we operate like a bloated police jury. Still, we are only 1.8 miles of land in Bayou Vista, and there are 7 different entities that our tax dollars, property taxes, ad valorem, we ain't even going to talk about the 310 sales tax, property taxes are flowing through. 7. That's the problem. And it's the one that we need to talk about. I think it's the biggest elephant in the room that needs to be addressed. I'm only one person. But I think that kind of flows into, yes sir, Mr. Alvin.
Alvin Lodre. I work for the Drainage District here in Bayou Vista and have done so for the last 20 years plus. And I'm still here, and I'm not about to quit my job yet. But out of those 7 entities, Bayou Vista funds them with the assistance on top of what the parish puts out. All right? Which one do you want to get rid of?
Oh, I'm not saying that we get rid. I'm not saying that you should be fired or not have a job.
Which district do you want to
I'm
end?
asking why we can't consolidate them.
And which district do you want to put it into? Because that's what it would take. You don't have the funding. We're barely making it now. And if you consolidate, what's left? You put all these districts under one blanket.
No,
you still need the same amount of money.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying,
Apparently
Mr.
I don't,
Alvin.
but if you're trying to narrow down the dollar bill, which is my understanding.
No, I'm
And
trying to
not
narrow
taking-
down
I'm not
efficiency.
taking this the wrong way. I-
Efficiency is
But
what
it's
my
money.
goal is.
Money makes all of this happen.
I know.
Without it,
We have an abundance of it in some areas.
well, that I'm not sure of.
Well,
But
I
what
am.
do know about one district to the other district, and we have parish council here, member that can back me up. Districts cannot share money.
I'm not talking about consolidating districts, Mr. Alvin. I'm talking about consolidating boards. We are paying a stipend to a board that is a middleman. That simply collects rate, does nothing more than collect rates. And pay the Joint Waterworks Commission for water, and then pay the Sewerage Commission. Look, I've been deep in this. I know how it all flows.
I do know you have.
And
But I
it
just wanted to
is
clarify
waste.
that.
It's waste.
We
I'm
need-
not talking about take this section of Bayou Vista and make it Berwick and no. I think we need to remain unincorporated. We are Bayou Vista. We stay Bayou
Let me
Vista.
remind you
When
of
I
something.
say
At this
consolidation,
point in
I
time,
mean boards.
Bayou Vista
Wait.
cannot be incorporated. There's no land and there's no people. You
Okay,
cannot
that's great.
form a
I don't want it to
corporation.
be. That's not what I mean when I say
Well, I just
consolidation.
rescued you because it can't possibly happen.
What do you
We
mean
can
you
either-
rescued?
We can either, rescue you out of that false idea that we could be consolidated, because we cannot be. Berwick will either gobble us up at some point in time.
Berwick wants half and Patterson wants half.
They've already divided the school district. That's been done years ago.
You are misunderstanding what I said.
I'm glad I am. But what
Okay,
I'm saying,
well,
you were afraid of consolidation.
No, I was not.
consolidation.
No, I'm not.
Okay, what were you talking about consolidation for? I mean, I think if there's wasted money, the auditors know that already. I would think so.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak about
Well,
the
we're being audited now, and it's costing
500,000
us thousands to do it.
allocation that was removed because that is what we initiated.
I think this can be every board, I think we should sit up here and you're asking questions, they want to talk to you.
I know for a fact. I read them.
You're just about to answer the question.
Okay, so the initial reason for this meeting was what we all watched take place at the parish council meeting in regard to the $500,000 allocation that administration put up from the 3 cent sales tax, and Mr. Hill pushed to redline it, and everyone wants to know why.
Right, well, that money's coming out of the 3 cent sales tax money, okay? The money can be used for certain things, most people know, drainage, street lights, recreation and such. Let's go back almost a year ago, this fine building we're in, okay? It was, fire marshal came in, said you can't come in the building, you have more than 8 people because the fire control panel was out, okay? So, I was asked to get $13,000 to buy a new control panel for this building. I got the votes of the council, or parish president said, we don't have $13,000. $13,000, we don't have
You're
it.
using it as a personal vendetta
No,
against him.
nope. So, that didn't happen, and another council member needed $5,000 for Baldwin PD, out of 3 cents money. We don't have $5,000 to give.
Well, they need that, yeah.
We don't have $5,000 to give the Baldwin PD. Well, just because you put money in a budget, doesn't mean it's actually be there neither. That's one issue. Okay, so we're always, just we have this parish president, all you hear is that we're broke. Last meeting, you even stated that we're bankrupt. Okay? Yeah, so which is not true, we're not bankrupt. Okay?
You gonna have money in it?
That's up to parish president, administration, you gotta keep saying we're broke. Okay,
Wait, y'all all want to get a raise over there, so hello, somebody's got money somewhere.
who asked for raise? I get $164 every 2 weeks.
Wasn't there
So,
just-
but anyway,
wasn't
back
there
to
something
this,
just
back
out
to the
about
question
the
and point,
raise?
point of question.
Raise?
Yes, I asked to get the $500,000 removed, but you know how simple it is to put the money back in?
But why did you ask for it to be removed? Because you was upset he didn't give you
Absolutely
14
not.
cents? For
No,
them, because
so-
they can afford it here. They have the money in their account to afford that.
That's irrelevant. That's who
It's
money is
really
used
not,
for.
though, I don't
The 3 cents money is used for the certain items.
And so is our ad valorem property taxes.
Recreation, fire service, police service, drainage, street lights, that's what the money's used for. So, how easy it is to put the money back in is call our clerk and said, Ms. Lisa, I'd like to put this item on the agenda, put the item on the agenda, and get the money put back in. But the thing is, There's no specific project that's even mentioned for the $500,000.
I got sewage collapsing.
You know?
Can anybody, is there anyone in this room who can offer any clarity on what that money was allocated for?
I did it.
Yes, sir. I was hoping you would speak up. Thank you, Mr. Sam. Because that's really, I tried to, I made a comment on Facebook and you just blatantly told me I was wrong.
Facebook is not the place to
Oh,
discuss those
but
things.
really? You're correct. I wasn't arguing, I was asking for information.
And I said, no, I got shot. I'm talking.
I did that before.
And you didn't like the answer I gave you.
No, I didn't like you telling me that the audit was wrong and the work that I did was wrong, but that's not here nor there. Our parish president is going to answer what the project is that the $500,000 allocation was for.
It was meant for the very problem we're talking about today. It was meant for that. And going forward, we could probably do more. But we went through 2 rough years. And there was bankruptcy in the year before I got here. And it's been hard to make that up.
The audit says otherwise.
Not when I was there. In 2013, it was.
So your state auditor's wrong?
He accepted it.
The parish council has never been bankrupt. The parish council has never been bankrupt.
Matthew, thank you. Appreciate that, Matthew.
In the history of this parish,
Are you taking over or?
secondary parish, I'm correcting that inaccurate information.
All right,
In the
this
history
ain't
of
for
secondary
that.
parish, our parish government has never been bankrupt. If it had been, we would have been assigned a fiscal administrator by the legislative orders.
That's right.
Okay,
Never been taken over by the state, Sam.
You can't use that language loosely like that.
What was the 500,000? Is there a specific project in Bayou Vista specifically outlined that was allocated for?
It was a general allocation, but for that purpose.
For the purpose of the repairing of failing sewage.
No, drainage.
Just show where the real issue started, nobody's mentioned it. Bayou Vista has sunk maybe 2 feet.
That's well, you can Senator Alain. You should talk to about that because he verified that.
It's
So.
some 2 feet.
Why has this building not sunk?
Why is the highway not sunk?
In Franklin, we went down 1.8.
They're redoing, the survey could have been wrong also.
Senator Alain did say that there is engineering paperwork that proves
I have not
it,
sunk.
and he's our state
I have
senator.
50-something pylons under my house. I have not sunk, but my shed is collapsing.
but that ain't what we're here for.
It is what it is.
But
Well, we
yeah,
are
I'm
because
talking
you keep
about-
spreading false information. So let's talk about your sinking problem. FEMA does not agree with you, nor does the United States Geology Service. So where are you coming up with this? We've sunk so many feet.
Well,
It's bullshit.
I guess maybe it was just magic, right?
I guess.
What happened, and if you listen for a minute instead of breaking in like this man has done.
I will continue to do as long as
Yeah,
you tell
yeah,
false information. I will.
Y'all gonna let him talk or what?
We found that Morgan City had sunk. We went and got $16 million total to fix it, to put guards there for it not to happen again. In fact, we're gonna get another $6 million to fix the big one that they tried to do twice, and never got it done. So we started talking to the people in Berwick. They're having the same problem, not nearly as bad as over here, over there. But if you go outside and you look, and you see across the street how high it is, and you're standing that low, that ought to tell you something.
I do want to. Our state senator Robert Alain did say that there is proof that Bayou Vista has sunk.
Everything that I can say is false cited.
I mean, he's.
But FEMA does not agree with what you're based on the floodplain
I
map
don't care
that you
about
put out.
FEMA. I don't care about FEMA. I care about
Well, you
you.
should because they pay our bills whenever we have hurricanes and we flood.
But there has to be
I
some
care
kind of
about-
documentation if you sit here telling us this. So there's
Senator
some
Lane swears
paper-
that there is.
But that's what I'm saying, there's
There's
gotta be
documentation,
some kind
yeah.
of paper somewhere that's gonna say this is going on.
And if I'm not interrupted, I want to explain that.
Oh my God.
Really?
Really?
Go ahead, sir.
For years, the river came through here, under here, and it still does.
Can we please just be respectful and allow him to
It
speak,
still
please?
does. And you have to face it or you have to sink. Every other place we've been, we fixed it.
Why are we sinking?
What?
Why? What's really causing us to sink?
Because
If they're saying we're not sinking and you're saying we are, what's making us sink then?
Morgan City's not.
Louisiana's sinking as a whole.
Franklin's side.
Sedimentation, if you go and look at St. Mary.
That has nothing to do with fixing our issues.
We did a big old thing.
In how many years though? I mean, like if it's in 10 years, that's one thing. If it's in 100 years, I mean,
Maybe 40, 50 years.
oh, 50 years.
You can't make it up. You can't blow it away.
30-something years right there. And I'm in a sinking area.
You're not in the pattern. It's different.
It's just my
But
shit.
each time you find it, you have to go work on it, have to do the work.
So now my next question is, if Morgan City can get these millions of dollars to fix them and now getting another, why we can't get money here in Bayou Vista?
You can't.
How?
How?
Ask for it.
You gotta get the
Well,
right.
we asked, because I did get on the board a couple of years ago and discussed this ditch and my shed falling in the whole 9 yards, and all they ever talked about is cutting grass up in ditches. So who am I supposed to bring this to? I pay my taxes like everybody else in Bayou Vista. I don't want his job. I don't want none of these people's jobs. I dig what you're doing, Andre. People came at
They
me like
gonna
I was
hate you for it.
insane.
They gonna go for your
And you know what? At that point, I got
Oh,
down.
yes, ma'am.
I've lived
Big time.
in Bayou
Big
Vista
time.
Like who?
almost every year of my life except for 7 years, and I've lived on that cane field. Growing up, it was my front yard. Now that I'm an adult, it's my backyard.
And you're closer to the ditch back there and all of that other stuff.
Yeah, she's,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But you know what? You go back there and look. The power side can cut the grass and all. Our property side is where they dug, and that's what this man was trying to say. They dug our side down like this and dug it out and kept the power side pretty.
The problem is, you have the roadway, which is the right of way from 180 through 9. And then you only have so much space, so if you dig that side, then you can't use the machinery. So they dig the property line. That's the only way to lot the ditch for digging. You can't dig the cane field.
Well, that's why they should have filled it in, like, instead of the wasting over here, they should have stayed their property and put the culverts over there and filled it in, instead of in the middle over here, they just taking
And,
nothing.
I mean, they're saying all this stuff about the drainage and the this and the that and the land, and you know what? It would have been a lot cheaper in the long run if they would have fixed that ditch, because now it's the mud, it's the everything that's all going back there. I mean, what if I get pissed off one day and decide to go buy cement and dump it on my property, going into the drainage? I mean, I'm losing my property. We picked up sandbags when it flooded to go and try to save some of my property, to
Did you
stop my
have to do
shed.
that before?
I bought my house in the 1996, I bought that lot, first one out here. My property marker was in the pole, stood about this high, and it was in the ditch, okay? My father went and put a pole inside that marker because the land is solely there. My pole's probably this high off the ground now, from the ditch running in there. Not only because the water drainage, but the sewage, that's collapsed. I have a servitude that's collapsed. Joe Dago came out, it's a parish problem. Did came out, drew the lines, threw their flags. We'll see you Monday.
And some of that $500,000 is gonna go towards that, right?
It's my sewage.
Right?
No, so the 500,000 was sewer 5/8. Okay, sewer 5/8 is jointly owned by the three entities: Berwick, Patterson, and Bayou Vista. Berwick, Second Parish Government, and Patterson. Okay, it's jointly owned by three. If we're gonna get 500,000, the other two entities are equally equally own it, they should be given the same amount of money.
But he
That's
told
what
you
I
at the
think.
budget advisory committee meeting that that wasn't the case, that it was 4 homes in Bayou Vista only. So he debunked that at the advisory committee meeting,
But I think they all can agree
that it
with
wasn't
me.
4 what
You
you
said it
thought
right
it was
here.
4.
You didn't get $14,000 from this
13.
man, well, 13 from this man for a fire system. So you're upset, so that's why you wanted that $500,000. That's not.
That's what you say.
That's
And I'm
why
gonna let you
shit
make
fall
it.
down.
I mean,
I never said that.
I want to give money to everybody, anybody unless they got a plan in place.
Yes, sir. Everybody, Mr. Craig Matthews.
Craig Matthews, District 1 Senator Brown. Here's what I think we all need to understand. The $500,000 did not go away. That money is still in our budget. It's still available. The dedication of it is something that your parish council that you elected has the authority to determine where it's directed. And so at some appropriate time, if the parish council deems that that $500,000 should be allocated to that project, then we have the authority with 6 votes to make such an allocation. The challenge that we're having is where we're dealing with an administrative power right now that wants you to believe that the parish council is horrible and he's the only one that can fix the problem. That's what's happening. Ask Mr. Jones, did he, I know you don't believe that, but we work in this environment every day. Ask Mr. Jones, did he pick up the phone and contact your councilman for Bayou Vista one time and discuss that $500,000?
I talked to him a bunch of times. And I went.
Before you put it in the budget.
And I went, and we got $1.15 million 12 years after they screwed it up.
So you're saying he didn't contact
Did he
you?
contact you about that?
Okay, just like you said earlier, you had to find out about this meeting on Facebook. I happened on my text, I text you about this meeting.
But I was used to.
So the bottom line is the money is still there. You didn't lose the money.
So David has to go and request.
So I
All
think,
he has to do is put it on the agenda. The council votes for it. The six votes.
Yeah, my mother-in-law.
yes, ma'am.
Think that he says-
So when are you gonna put it on the agenda, David?
So, as a Bayou Vista resident, can we humbly ask for the revisitation of the $500,000 allocated towards either water, drainage, or sewage for our very much needed unincorporated area that would like to fight for its life, whether it be a ditch or drainage or sewage?
that's really the crux of all of this.
I kind of said it on earlier.
I know, that's a fair ask.
Yeah, listen though. Look, I kind of made a statement, and then people are construing it that I'm doing it because he wouldn't give me the 13,000. So, reach in your pocket, get $5, or give me $5,000.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
so what I'm saying though is this administration, if you can't come up with 13,000, how are you gonna come up with 500,000?
Because it's
Just because you put it in the budget, doesn't mean the money's actually gonna be there.
You can earmark it for that
And I agree,
particular
I totally
task.
agree. So that
That could be done at
but-
any time.
but listen though.
That could be earmarked. Can we ask
So-
for an earmark of that money?
Hold up, so the biggest issue we have right now is with 3/10 money. We have argument all the time amongst council members and administration. The cash money is collected. It's not a collection problem, okay? They're collecting the 3/10 money every single month. Every month, we get a report from St. Mary Parish Sales Tax Office. I see how much money that Ward 5/8 gets, cash money, okay? That cash money is then put in the general fund, okay? Hear me out, one checking account. Cash money goes into the general fund. Certain things have to come out of that 3/10 money automatically. So street lights and drainage, and that goes to a little kitty. So then we have that little cash left over. That money is commingled. Then it's just earmarked, I owe you, I'll just say we got $50 in this 3/10 account. But they're spending that cash money to help balance all the rest of the budget.
That big IOU sitting there.
Okay.
Exactly.
No money.
Exactly. So, hold up. In previous administrations, and other council members, that was on there before I got on there, that we used to get, they used to get a report, that asked the CAO, hey, can I get, how much money is in my Ward 5 or Ward 8 account? Now with this administration, they said, oh, we cannot give you that money. We don't truly even know how much an IOUs actually in our account, because they won't actually give us the money, how much money I have for my board right here. They won't give us that money.
Hey, I got something to say.
Yeah, I can't sit still on this.
Miss Stephanie.
Wait, miss, can we let the Drake speak, please, Dr. Drake?
Dean, I'll defer to you first.
First off, this money for the three test money, all these balances that been going on, this just didn't start overnight. I got on the council in 2020, about 2022, I went and sat down with the CAO at the time and the CFO. I said, okay, y'all, we talk about this three test money all the time. I didn't understand what it was about. He said, well, he gave me all the funds. And then say it tallied up to like $1.5 million. I said, so you telling me next month I could come here and we can allocate all this money and spend it? He said, oh, no, we can't do that. He said, that's just a fund balance. I said, so it's an IOU. And I told him that back 5 or 6 years ago. The only one who was the smartest councilman back in the day was a guy from Amelia, because he dedicated his three test money to the recreation district to do all them different things with. But nobody else did that. Every city gets their own three test money. And that's one of the problems that I have, is that the three test money that we have for these different wards, we should never allocate none of that money to the cities, because they already get theirs.
Ever.
And so that's what happened. That happens in Baldwin, happens in Franklin, but on this end, from Bayou Vista, from Calumet to Amelia, to say Calumet, that three test money has to be spent in the rural area. And then Syracuse has a little bit. I think they collect about $2,500 a month, and the rest of Amelia is about $17,000 a month that go to the rec district. But they can do street lights, drainage, whatever they need in that community. So this didn't start overnight about the three test money. This has been going on for years and years and years.
So that was what, in the 80s it was voted on?
Well, I don't know how long it's been going on with them taking the money and doing other stuff in the parish.
That is since, the intergovernmental agreement took place in
Well, now
1983.
I'm trying to meet with Paul Gubernal at Boulder Ground at the time. I said, well, they need to start a fund balance for everybody who has a stake in the game. Everybody gets their thing, and the money goes in each one's account, and we can't touch that money. That's just be spent in that area.
That's part of our.
That's something that we need to do, and we need to do it soon.
That's part of our general opinion that we put forth, that we should be getting an answer on, hopefully soon.
But that's never.
No. We can do it as a council to allocate the money and open up different checking accounts for each one. That's what we need to do.
Sir, you wanted to say something?
How long ago did that happen?
This was what I got on the council and I asked, but I don't know how long they've been doing it. I just know since I've been on the council what's been going on.
Taking that money and leaving that IOU. That's what they did.
And the three test money, basically the way it works is the three test money is all collected. And then they take, it's by population. Like, say, Morgan City gets their cut by population. Borough gets their cut. Amelia gets their cut. Recreation.
It should be.
And then Bayou Vista gets their cut. Bayou Vista gets their cut because they got a lot of population. That's why we need to have on accounts for each area where they get their own money.
How can we rectify it or be proposed in the next council meeting and or in the next charter so we can learn how to rectify it?
This could probably be done without a charter, just the administration. We need to do it as administration. We need to do it.
So can we humbly ask for the administration to possibly look at a way?
I'll ask again.
So I've asked a question to a few council members about where the three test money goes to a separate checking account, and so we can't do that right now because that's going to wreck our budget, because they're using that cash money, they collect them to the 3/10 to help balance the budgets. But just because you've always done something doesn't mean it's right.
So what about matching with the grant? Can I make a quick comment about that? I'm sorry. This is Dr. Ray with Parish Council, District 9. I tried to sit here and be nice about the situation, but I can't at this point anymore. Obviously, we still have an issue, and I've said this multiple times. Go read the tax call as a public. Because the tax call says what we can spend it for. It doesn't say who can spend it. So the problem is we're going to throw around that it's been allocated or spent erroneously in the past. That's the vibe that's always told forward. But you can look at our budget as a council and you can justify where that money is spent. I think the original problem, and I mean, Dean and I have been on the council the same amount of time and we've battled with this issue the entire time. I think the problem is it's an accounting issue on an administrative side. And yes, having separate accounts probably would solve a lot of that problem. But the way the accounting is done is that we, even as a council, only see these big line items of how this money is spent in certain areas. But if you actually looked at the breakdown, it's spent for appropriate purposes. It's spent for street lighting. It's spent for cutting the grass. It's spent for the parish council, for the parish government facilitating certain uses of it. The problem is it's never been deducted out of those accounts appropriately. So it's always been an IOU that's been put in the account, and that's the simplest way I can explain it. It's always been an IOU when it should have been a line item deduction from that certain area because it was used for that purpose. But in the past, it's always been, and I'm going to say this because I'm not a gentleman. I've said this since I've been on the Dane Council. I'm the first woman elected to this parish council. And I'm not a gentleman, so I don't agree with any gentleman's agreements. You know, I'm going to vote the way that I feel I need to vote and the way that the people think this money needs to be spent and how we make these people better and make their properties better and make this parish better. I don't care about these gentleman agreements in the past, you know? So the problem ultimately arises from the fact that it's always been the parish council allocates this money, but there's absolutely nothing in the tax call. So that's where everybody gets their feelings hurt, because now it can't be that way, because this money had to be spent for something else to maintain in the parish. So the money's not there. So that gentleman's agreement that, oh, the parish council can allocate this money from the sales tax, it isn't a fixed gentleman's agreement anymore. It matters not, because the money is not there. It has been spent for those appropriate purposes. So the easiest way to fix the problem right now with the fund balance for the sales tax money would be to wipe the balance down to zero and let's start from what we collect today, this year, from 2026.
Right.
And then we do better accounting on how that money's spent. And that's the only way you're gonna rectify this problem with how much money we really have to spend out of this sales tax money. So, I'm sorry, I'm
Unfortunately, you'll never get
off.
6 votes for that.
And it's
But I don't disagree with them. I don't disagree with them.
Mr.
But it's not
Price.
gonna pass.
So Craig,
Because you're not
being
gonna
that
vote on
you're
it,
gonna
right?
get 6 votes for it, then maybe we should start recalling people.
That would
I'm
be up to the
starting with you,
voters.
actually.
Start with him.
Hey, we're not here for that, so don't bring that up.
Start with him.
No, but that's a good
I'm
idea.
not the public concern, I can speak whatever I want.
I want everybody to understand, y'all heard it from him. We have a big IOU in that account, that money. So when this man says we're broke, you're broke because you can't spend that IOU, right? According to.
So we don't have $500,000. That was
Actually,
but we can't spend that.
You don't have it over the course of time.
I want to make a comment on that. So,
Because it comes in.
This is in regard to the 5 days.
So I will put that back on the agenda for our next council meeting to put the $500,000 back into the budget. The way I feel about the situation is that if we put it in the budget, then like you said, it is earmarked for a certain project. It's earmarked for a certain purpose. So that way, the intent of spending it for that particular purpose has a higher likelihood than if we don't put it in the budget at all.
I very much
So I personally will put it back on the agenda. Whether or not it gets 6 votes, that's a whole other story.
The next meeting is when? The next meeting is when?
Next meeting is next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday at the Franklin Courthouse, she is going to be putting up the $500,000 allocation back for Bayou Vista. If that's something you would like to support, we would all love to see everything go to them.
So whenever y'all put that up, like y'all don't have to go and say, look, this is what our plans are for, this is what needs to be done. Y'all just get it approved and then it goes wherever. Like I mean, I'm just.
Exactly what we need.
Similar to that, Rachel, a lot of times if we have a dedicated project already, we can say that it's for this project. You know, so if we had enough money to match to, I mean, I couldn't get an answer from Chad how much the Test Road project total amount is, you know, for the bid. But I mean, if we had enough money between what they already had in the test road and, you know, this 500,000, that can always be kind of combined together. But the reason that a lot of it, the reason that a lot of it isn't done that way is because if there's not a proposed project already, it's earmarked for that general stuff. So if a project comes up during the year, that 500 can be appropriately spent for, then that 500 can be spent at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what kind of worries me, because when I was involved in all of that, and I was going to the meetings, I was pumped up, like Andre, like, let's make Bayou Vista better.
Right.
Like, if
I
I
just want to see my tax dollars get spent responsibly. I mean, my husband works out of town. He leaves his parish to support my family, and he brings every penny right back here. Right back here, we send our kids to these schools, we pay our property taxes, I grocery shop here, I support every local freaking entity I can. I care because we work.
Okay,
We pay.
do the businesses here pay taxes to us?
Yes, of course. Look, you can, if y'all want to know, go look at the audits of the 7 entities that George tax dollars go through.
The 7 entities, okay.
I just want to make sure, but that's that. That's how people is trying to get money, and you wanted to put that walking track. And like she said, that's when I quit. Like, hold up. Y'all may be able to put my golf and all these things, not a single soul thought about, oh, we're gonna need security?
Well, because you
Well,
can
that
put a
was-
red shiny ribbon on that, but you can't see the infrastructure that's failing.
Well, not even that.
Well,
They
it's the truth.
My kids were
Agree.
They were beating up kids, they were doing drugs, they never once put it in the budget. We're gonna need an adult to go watch that. Well, that was.
Recreation projects to get council.
Now he's
people
talking about a
elected.
walking trail?
Right.
So don't go ask for this money and then go try to put a walking trail. I mean, that is insane to me.
We need to address the things that we cannot see.
I
And
need to
that's
ask
failing
something
infrastructure.
about taxes. The 3% tax, that should have always been our own personal little budget. But I need to ask this question, this is probably the council. How was Cameron Ironworks, how was all of that, all of a sudden just moved into Berwick? I want to know that. That was never, ever spoken about. Never spoken about, ever. So you know what? That was Bayou Vista all the way up to
Cameron
past,
Ironworks, part of it went
all
from
the way
Bayou
up
Vista
to
to
past
Berwick.
where, where the trucking is. So I need to know how he came from Ace Trucking to Cameron Iron, and now Berwick gets all those taxes.
And it's moving up.
And on the board, he moved all the way out here, he took up all the truck stops too, Berwick is. I need to know that question.
The Berwick has that one truck stop, the Bayou Vista one's Bayou
I'm
Vista.
asking, we're like
The campground is considered.
Berwick, yeah.
Yeah, it sure is. So I need to know how come they got.
Right, this campground?
Yeah, that campground's in Berwick.
Wow, we getting it, huh? They're really putting
Can anybody hear anybody? No. Y'all stop. So somebody knew somebody and y'all allowed it. The I blame that on the parish, the council did this. Berwick come and just hopped from Ace Trucking to Cameron Iron and took all by Vista's property. So I need to know how that happened. I've been wanting to know that for these past few years, but all of a sudden, nobody can answer that question for me, so y'all need to be able to answer that question.
Did you vote in redistricting?
Yes.
Did you vote when the boundary lines of the districts were redrawn? That was one of the
I don't think that,
No,
they can't take land like that.
They can't take land, it might have to have been something at the state
Annexed that
level.
property and it was annexed.
They annexed the property, it had to have been a state
It was
level.
an annexation from Berwick City government to.
that was big politics.
That was way before us, so I can't answer that one.
And so y'all took money from us, and that's just like Berwick now. A lot of money. So that's just like Berwick and the Bayou Vista Mardi Gras was always together. You know what their excuse was for not letting Bayou Vista participate anymore? Oh, y'all don't have enough tax money for us to have another sheriff out there. Y'all only getting one, So we can't allocate for y'all to have more patrol out there for the day of the parade. So you know how bad that sucks? That means that y'all have done that to us. Maybe not you, because you might not have been there when this happened a few years ago, but still.
I don't think anybody, like, I don't think anybody set out to do that.
I said that from the get. I don't think anybody in here is inherently bad or out to get us.
Can one person talk at the same time? I think Rachel has the floor right now.
I'm gonna go to the next question. So even if y'all didn't fight for it back then or do it, y'all need to fight and give us our property back. I mean, they should, Berwick should not have.
I would like to know.
They should not have that truck stop, and they should not have nothing to do with the county. Nothing. Yeah, y'all would rather fight with Sam? Well,
I'm just gonna let y'all know. I mean, I got a big mouth, and just watching y'all here tonight is the exact reason I don't watch the parish council meeting. Y'all grown ass men. That is embarrassing watching y'all three do this. And yes, I'm not on the parish council. I'll never be, because I lose my shit every time. But watching this tonight is embarrassing. You can roll your eyes like me too. That's even worse that you a grown ass man over there rolling your eyes.
It is what it is.
And then be a parish president? Holy shit.
maybe want to jump for God.
Okay, let's get to the issue.
Is there anything else that is like incredibly pressing that anyone would like to address outside of, look, I mentioned the consolidation because I do all of this work and I look at all of the things and
We understood, sugar.
look, and I also want to say to anybody in this room who wants to see my sources, it's public documents.
Right.
I just take the time to dig into them because they're dense. And I really think that they're meant to be that way so that we don't ask the important questions. So that we get frustrated and we're like, I don't know what that means, so we just go to work. And we keep paying our taxes. And you don't have to do that anymore. There's technology that will break down all of the things that you... Look, I'm not a college graduate. I'll be the first one to tell you. I got a high school diploma. But I'm not an idiot.
Amen.
And I can look at a document and I can break it down to a place where I can understand it enough to make sure that things are done responsibly. And look, I looked at the audits, and this is not an attack on anybody, but we got entities that are screaming for money, and then we got other entities that are sitting on $3.8 million in unrestricted net position. How the hell does that happen? That's why we need to talk about consolidation, and I'm not talking about making us Berwick or Patterson.
No.
We just, I mean, where is it? I just don't understand. I mean, look, when my daughter's car almost took on water a year ago, everybody on Facebook screaming at each other. Somebody tells me to call Mr. Alvin. This man took time. He talked to me. He explained this. He's a gem for this drainage system. He knows what he's doing. He took the time to explain to little curious me how it all works. Because he cares. He don't want this to flood either. I know none of the, I don't think that any of the workers need to lose their jobs. I'm not coming for y'all, I swear. I just want
The truth.
and results and transparency. My God, it is not a crime to ask for a public freaking record. It's not a crime for me to ask my councilman on Facebook why I'm wrong. I wasn't trying to argue with you. I'm never trying to argue with anyone. I just want the truth. Just give me the answers. Tell me what I have a question. Answer my question. That's it. That's
Okay,
all
I got a
want.
question. I got a question. Because I'm sitting here and I'm listening. I'll tell you my name afterwards. I sat here and listened to this whole thing. And me and Councilman had a question, answered one of my questions. And this question is for Sam Jones. As a taxpayer, we, as Bayou Vista, and I'm putting as see what's owed to Bayou Vista. I want the total of how much money we have for Bayou Vista.
It is
I don't want to
IOU.
hear this, I don't want to hear this, well, we don't know, we got IOUs. I don't want an IOU. I want to know how much money is in that account for us.
Jen, you can go and FOIA it. I do it all the time. They make me pay for it, but I drive and I pay for it.
But this is the thing, we shouldn't have to. You should not.
No, that is the way democracy works, and I don't have a problem doing it. I drive to Franklin all the time. I pay my little money, and I get my little documents.
At the next council meeting, I don't care if you got to put on whatever, I want to know.
Okay, what's your specific question?
I want to know is how much money
How much
we
is our
have.
IOUs?
Not IOUs,
Well, I mean,
well,
that's
the
what you
IOUs
did.
too. I want to know how much IOU to us and how much money we actually have. Because you're sitting up here saying parish is broke, parish is broke. Well, guess what? We're part of the parish. As taxpayers, we should know what we have. It shouldn't be a little bit of it.
That's
I
right,
want the
I paid
whole thing.
$1,105.
I want to know what's IOU and what we actually have.
So let me help you frame your question properly.
Yeah, please do, because I'm a
What
little
you need to
agitated
ask
right now.
for, what you need to ask for is the total amount of funding collected in the 5 and 8 sales tax fund.
Mhm.
The allocation for 5 and 8, wards 5 and 8.
Yes.
Broke down,
At
5,
the
8,
end of
5, and then
2025.
8.
As of December 31st, 2025.
Yes, that's exactly
That's
what
what
I
you
want.
wanna know.
And is it there or is it an IOU?
No, I
You
don't.
want what was
That's what I'm
collected?
saying.
What was collected?
Yeah, right.
I want to know what was
What
collected.
was collected and if it's there or if it's an IOU?
Yep.
If it's collected,
But
then
it
it has to
can't,
be
Joe,
there.
it can't be an IOU, it's collective. I just went to Franklin and paid mine. You know, so I know that's.
So you know it's
That's
collected.
right, so that's fine. There's no IOU there. You paid that.
It's collect, this money is collected every time you go in a gas station and
That's
buy
right, the gas station.
Or Walmart and buy a
Right,
stick of gum.
anywhere.
Anywhere you spend,
Anywhere you spend 50 cents,
you
you're gonna pay.
sales.
That's right.
Transact sales.
But let me tell you, on the other note with that, as our Councilman Mark Duhon back there, he explained it to me one day. He said, Dean, the administration can use that 3/10 money as long as it's using Bayou Vista, the rural area of Patterson, the rural area of Franklin, the rural area of Centerville. The administration used that money. They've been doing it for years and years, way before my time.
But we want to stop it.
I know, I agree. I agree. And I've been saying
the loudest?
Sorry?
Who screams the loudest? Is it Patterson?
Well, it all depends who's the administration, who wants to get stuff done. The last administration, after COVID, we got $10 million. You wanna know what we got to show for it? We got a water line down Red Cypress Road for $300,000.
I saw the water line.
Hot Road.
Nowhere.
Goes to nowhere. There's supposed to be for the sewer plant said we don't want it. We got well water.
It is now.
So, I just wanna clarify that comment a little bit. Yes, we can ask how much money, and yes, we could say we wanna only spend it for this purpose, but unless we actually take that tax call back to the people and change the verbiage on that tax call to say that it can only be allocated a certain way, or it
Are
has
we
to be
talking
in
about the
separate accounts.
$500,000 that you were?
No, we're talking about sales tax.
Okay, well, not the money that you were gonna ask back
Yes.
is gonna go in this fund.
Correct.
What happens to that?
That money, it would be the same thing. So if you look
It
at the
goes to
way.
them, they can allocate it however they want.
Correct. No, they have to allocate it for those certain
Certain things,
purposes.
like streetlights, drainage.
So essentially,
Recreation.
it is allocated for those purposes. Like I said, when I had my rant, and I'm sorry, I usually don't try and rant, you know, I'm just trying to give you guys the facts, the way I see it, you know, sitting on here.
We appreciate
The fact that it's in there in the budget as an allocation doesn't change the fund where it's coming from. It's still, that line item says it's coming from the sales tax. The only way you're gonna change that is changing the tax call and changing how we do accounting when it comes to that fund.
Okay, so what do you have to do to make all the taxes collected in Bayou Vista in their own account? That's the step that I want to know that we need to take. So I will stand behind and I will push it. Nobody else might not,
To get all the money, you'd have to incorporate, I don't know if you wanna do that.
No, just to get our money?
They just want to just put it in, and they own like a separate checking account.
Yeah.
Cause most.
They don't want it in fund.
Most towns, I know Morgan City probably has about at least 10 or 15 different accounts for whatever the
We
call
don't,
or
yeah, we
tax
don't want our
is.
taxes going to Morgan
No,
City.
it could be in a secondary parish, whatever the district is here, and that's your money, that's the money in the bank. I don't want about the fund, I want to know what's the money in the bank, that's the main fault, the main thing.
The only way to do that.
That's what I've been trying to get the last administration to do.
The only way to do that is to change the tax code.
I'll do some more checking, I'm gonna check what our legal counsel seems to do. That's a good law.
Okay, so what if we would get, what if we would get a signature board, or just get a whole bunch of people to stand
The Morgan City is one area. That's Bayou
The thing about it is, if you want your tax dollars here, right? And you got a population of 300 people, and Morgan City got 3,000, well, you only get that 300 people for the taxes. You just need somebody that can keep it all together, but allocate it the way it needs to be allocated.
We want our little checking account.
You can have your own checking account, but if you got 300 people to make math simple, just say, set 300 people here, and you get 1 cent. That's the job. Morgan City, 1,000 people. There is going to be a much higher percentage for money.
Yeah, but this way they get to spend it all.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It would be better to have someone that would work it and spend it accordingly and have a big cut versus little bitty Bayou Vista with a small population is gonna have a very, very small.
Y'all have to run the same population first.
But like I'm saying, like
Morgan City, like,
I do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I feel like if I could just have everybody's attention, please. I want to thank y'all for coming out. I think that this needs to happen.
But then you can manage it better.
But we're gonna
You can't hide it.
But we're gonna get, we would probably do better stuff.
Well, but there's confusion, there's money to be made.
Hey, we have some money talking up here, y'all can talk about
It's
that
okay,
after.
guys. It's okay. It's okay. Go ahead. It's okay. I just want to thank everybody for coming because I think that this needs to happen more often. I think there's a lot of, that people just have a lot of questions that they want answered and they typically get the runaround. I think that's a big problem. I think we need more transparency, and my plea to the council, to our elected member, to all of you, our at-large members, is to please consider how our contributions can be spent more responsibly and more efficiently. Because like I said, I'm not the smartest person by any means, but when I look at these reports, there's a lot of waste. And there are too many people that are intertwined and not producing results. And I don't think it's intentional. I just think the system is broken. I think the system is flawed. So please address these things. I don't really want to play the blame game. I know like the whole political thing takes off. I don't really see any kind of productivity in that. I just want to see results. I don't care whose fault it is, for the love of God. Just fix it. Just fix it.
So next Wednesday at the council meeting in Franklin,
I will be
do
there.
we need to be there and request these things in front of them?
Well, that's what I was fixing to ask.
Well,
This is our representative. She asked if you could put the 500,000 back on the table.
Miss Dr. Rink is gonna do that.
Okay, so I just want to make sure y'all all understand what he's gonna ask for, not this week, not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday, and see about our own checkbook from this area.
So is David you gonna do that, or do I need to be there? Do I need to call and get on the agenda tomorrow for next week about the checking account?
No, I will put it,
Test road and whatever?
No, that's something different.
I will put that on the agenda, so it'll be listed as an action item on the agenda. So if you would like to come to the council meeting and you'd like to speak on it, it's already listed as an action item on the
So I don't have to get
agenda.
on
So
the
all you
agenda.
have to
Correct.
do is come to the council meeting and sign up to speak in public comment.
So Chad also said the capital outlay request from Bayou Vista information, he's gonna send that to Paris Council. He wants to get Millet Engineering update, he wants that updated with Chad. Christie said she wants to try to do the $500,000 allocation towards the drainage at the next meeting.
Thank you, Christie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, I really appreciate that.
It was
Someone
drainage
else
and
wanted
sewage
to
is-
ask
yeah,
for the total
is what it was
amount of
originally.
funds for wards 5 and 8 as of December 21st, 2025. You can call the secretary at the Franklin building and ask for that to be put on the agenda also if someone doesn't bring it up. So maybe you can get
And
that.
y'all can reach out to me. I have everybody's information.
And how about get on the agenda about getting all the money back where all our taxes go?
Yeah, I can get it to Miss Lisa.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Does anybody else have anything that they want to say before we dismiss? Everybody good?
I want to thank everybody.
I want to thank you for having this meeting. She's not making it. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. I just want to get this done.